not able to read, but Mary has made something out of it, so, you know, I'm pleased to hear it. In 1983, when I returned from living in Madison for 10 years, where I finished my last 9 years of nursing work, I joined all of the local Swedish organizations that were in the Milwaukee area. Lindy Lodge of Vasa, Swedish American Historical Society, the Scandinavian Chorus. I think at that time it was called Lindy Chorus, because we were all Swedes. And attended Swedish classes, although I had taken classes in Madison from about 6 different instructors, and each one would tell me that I pronounced things wrong. I said, that's the way the last instructor told me. I was actively working on Swedish genealogy, and then had completed my Carlson book in 1991 and the Warmy book in 2001. I regret that the Scandinavian Chorus has disbanded, as we had a lot of fun, didn't we, Fiona? And we sang for nursing homes here in Racine. We're on many programs for Vasa as well as for the Historical Society and Julotta and Midsummer. Now, some of us still sing at Julotta and Midsummer, and if any of you want to join us, I'm sure we'll be doing that in 2009. Now, there are 4 traditional types of Swedish music, and I have different books and so forth over here. Dance music, usually that's a single melodic line, as Mary plays, with chords by at least a duo of guitar and fiddle or accordion. And harmonica or piano or keyboard are sometimes used to play the melody or the chord progressions. The types of dance tunes are primarily Swedish, which is called a Swedish hop, and that's in 2/4 or 4/4 time. And the others are primarily 3/4 time. The hambo and the waltz, also called vals in Swedish, and polka or polska. They played for barn dances, cellar parties, house parties, and so forth. And then also, the instrumental folk music was at its peak in the early 19th century. And they had violin, in the 1500s, they had the key fiddle. And by the 1600s, the violin was pretty prominent, and the clarinet and the accordion came later than that. And I have a picture over there, I think maybe another place, where that shows the progression of the kinds of instruments. Originally, they had pipes too. And you can kind of imagine the little pipes that they had. And fiddlers were central figures at country festivals and weddings, and some of those weddings were all day long. And outstanding musicians would sometimes compose new melodies for the couple, and so you will see wedding waltzes and wedding dances composed for special people. Now, lately the interest in this has been revived, and that's both in the United States as well as in Sweden. And here's one that now I have it available for you. So folk music has served as a pastime, and even though life and the year's holidays, folk musicians served important functions. Before the organ's time, they played platform or gallery melodies or songs or music for wedding. And dinner music was important too. They had some tradition. Oh, I guess I forgot where I was here. The folk songs was the second category. The lyrics to sing with or without instrumental accompaniment. And so usually they tell stories or are related to seasons or holidays such as Lucia, Christmas, Midsummer, and many others. Or they might celebrate a marriage or a work, a type of, well, something that would go along with whatever their occupation was. But many times they're very sad and melancholy, and some people said that they thought that Scandinavian music all was very melancholy, many times in minor key. Well, some of this life was sad, so they sang sad songs. But we have that too. They were usually handed down through oral tradition or repeated listening and singing. And this leads to a lot of variations depending upon people's memory. And I've read some books where they have maybe about 5 variations on a song. Although many times the songs came up from a particular area, and when we're thinking about many of these folk melodies were written a long time ago, you can understand that even though they did have printing, they did have printed music, I think it was about 1750, but you know, it was not as easy to get to them. So a lot of people had songs that they knew in their particular area. So then there were also children's songs and ring dance songs. They were sung while they're dancing. And we see that at Midsummer, particularly. Then they have band music that was popular in the United States in the late 19th and early 20th century. Some ceremonial music, walking tunes, brides marches, ceremonial tunes, and soldier marches. Maybe Mary sometime will play that for you. I'm hoping she's going to give you a program sometimes too, a little later. And religious hymns. And I'm not going to dwell on that too much. We talked a little bit about them, and I'm supposed to keep my time short, so that I'm kind of watching the time here. So I just have to say that music has been, as you can tell, very important in my life. As Harry said, I do play organ during Carol Fokus's vacation, not very often, because I think she has some younger ones now. And at Augustana and Redemption. In fact, the first time that I got anything for playing it was a box of chocolates at Augustana. So that was in the Depression days. Then I also played the field pump organ in the when I was in World War II in the South Pacific, and that was kind of interesting. And I did play the organ in Manila on Wednesdays. I had never heard the Missouri Lutheran